Okay, let's get started.
Nice.
Right, let's get started. Shall we?
Shall we? Yes,
Shall
of
we?
course.
So it's been a long time, dude. So I think the last time we met just a couple of months ago before you getting to US, right? So how's it going? How are you?
Well, definitely, it's been such a long time. Well, there have been moments when I kind of struggled, and then, of course, I picked up everything. I picked up myself, and then everything went pretty well. And as of now, I can see everything on my end is really great. I'm doing well both here and outside of work, and then also where I'm at work. Everything is okay under control, by the way.
I think it's been a really long time, right? We've done this.
Yeah, it's been such a long time since we've had this conversation together. The last time we had this podcast, we talked about ghosts. We talked about random things, right? We talk about how the world would look like if plastic were disallowed to be produced, right?
Yes,
So
we
it was like
did.
really random over there.
We talk really randomly. But now
Yeah,
time has changed, right?
yeah, everything.
Time has changed, but we never change.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So yeah, for everyone who doesn't know who this is, so this is my cousin. So this is my brother to me. So he's my brother. So currently working in the US for a J1 program. So yeah, can you just talk about yourself a little bit, dude, so everyone can know you pretty well?
Okay, so well, that was a pretty good opening over there. So I think most of your friends already know who I am. Okay, so just for those of you who don't know me, I'm Popon. Okay, so my real name is Irfan. I'm currently a J1 participant right now. I've been working in the US for about 8 months right now, with 3 months contract remaining, which means that upon the completion of the contract itself, I'll be on my way back to Indonesia. Um, I worked as a teacher for such a long time, for like 9 years, before I decided that I would like to have a career change for a better life or something like that. And then at some point, I quit teaching, and then I signed up for a 1 year program at one of the tourism schools in my town. And then everything went pretty well over there, and I got a lot of information about the hospitality as well. And then I got some information on the J1 itself, and then I quickly became so enticed and interested in the program itself. And then I, gathered the information, and then worked on my skills that would be required for the J1 program itself. And then, well, the rest is history. It took me like almost 1 year to get everything right there. And of course, there were moments when I got rejected by the host company, and I was really frustrated with that fact. But then, my family had always been there for me. They supported me. They kind of encouraged me to keep moving, to keep trying, and then everything was okay. And then at some point, I got accepted. I was really happy, and then I let everyone know about that thing. And then right after I got my visa approved, I of course went to my cousin's house, you right, and then we had a lot of fun together for the last time before my flight in the US, and yeah, the rest is history.
Oh, that's pretty well. What a memory back there, right? And now you're in the US. So how is it like? The US. Is it like what we usually see in the movie, like US, right? United States, where a lot of really great blockbusters happening, or we just watch some really great movie that's really take place in the US. And then you said that you did some like a crossed field. Is it like that, like from teaching, and then you just tried a new journey starting from like a really blank piece, right? Blank sheet that you started a new one in the hospitality as a waiter there. So how is it like? Is it is it really difficult for you to start it over again, or maybe you do already have the basic, right? Like what everyone should have as a waiter, which is English. So yeah, how do you feel? How do you feel for, for having been through all of this?
Well, that is an interesting question. So, first of all, what I think about the US, well, I would personally say that I have mixed feelings about the situation in the US itself. So, is it like the one that we have always seen there? Like, like in the movie, for example, like Spider-Man, the blockbuster thing, all the skyscrapers and everything. Well, to be completely honest with you, I haven't been able to explore the city that much. So for all this time, I've been just working and then staying in my apartment. So I haven't really had that chance, to see the outside world. But what I can tell you is that, and it is based on what everyone has told me, especially those who have traveled the city and then those who have been to the other states, especially. Everything is exactly like what we have seen there in the movie. So they've got a lot of skyscrapers, a lot of traffic, a lot of cultures that we do not see back in our back in our country and everything like that. So everything is mesmerizing in its own way. But to me, is specifically, I can say that there are things that I like being here, and there are things that I enjoy doing. So the things that I like here is that maybe the place, it really suits my personality. It's really tranquil here. I'm in the middle of the woods. Actually, I can say that it's not like it isn't anything like BC City or something like that. So the place where I'm staying right now is surrounded by woods, and it's really tranquil, away from all the crowds like that, such as, well, the one that is happening in a big city. And as for my background, has it been so difficult for me on my end to adapt to the new thing there? I would say there are times when I struggle. There are times when it is so difficult for me to adjust to the new situation, because my true capability is teaching in English, and also it was really hard for me to let go of that old habit, because I taught English for such a long time, for like 9 years, before I decided to have a career change and then drop that job and then applied for this 1-year program at one of the tourism schools, and I got to know the Japan itself, right? It was really difficult for the first time, especially because prior to enrolling at the tourism school, I had not got any sort of prior experience in hospitality. So it was literally my first time to be in there. But then I got to know everything. I learned what I had to learn, like, the secret of service, and then the wine knowledge, and then the beverage kind of thing as well. I cannot confidently say that I know everything, but what I know right now is already enough to get me going, at the hotel itself. So at the hotel itself, everything has been smooth sailing, in my opinion. I could learn from my boss. I could learn from my friends over there, from the supervisors, from my colleagues and everything. So it has been smooth sailing. Every single one of them is open. They are willing to share what they already know. They are willing to teach me. They are aware of the fact that I have never worked in the hospitality industry before. So they kind of welcome me with an open arm there. They are willing to guide me from zero to something, not from zero to hero, because I'm not a hero yet. So I can say that everything has been, really great there. I can learn about a couple of things about, the signature cocktails and, drinks there, something that I have never touched before. Because before I signed up for the program, everything that I knew was just English, how to, and right now it's been, really great.
That's really really impressive story. And what I thought there, like you met a lot of people there, right? A lot of people from really different countries, different background, and also they also have a background, personalities that you need to deal with, right? So it's quite surprising that your friend helps you and you can learn from the others, and the others also helped you as well. So everyone just work together to get everyone better, right? And yeah, so it's been 7 or 8 months you've been there.
I've been here for 8 months now.
Okay, it's man being there. So it's supposed to be, having, being through a lot of struggling, and what have you been there? Like, have you ever felt like lonely? Of course, lonely, right? Because you've been so far away from your home, like, which is in Indonesia, been away from the loved one, the family. So how'd you deal with such a loneliness when you feel, for example, homesick? Because not everyone could handle that situation, right? We need to, strongly committed to ourselves that we need to change something, but we need to sacrifice something else.
Well, that's a great question. So, how do I put up with a situation where sometimes I feel homesick, lonely, and difficult, both at work and here at my social life, especially the first time for me to be here in the US? That's a very interesting question. So, when it comes to challenges, they have happened to me since the first day when I came back home, Well, to be completely honest with you, it was really difficult for me to leave my previous job because, teaching has always been my passion there. And then it took every ounce of my strength and my motivation to convince myself that leaving the world of teaching for a while would be worth it. So I kind of convinced myself for that one first. So the struggle started over there. And then it continued where I was when I was still at the tourism school, because it was literally the first time for me to to get to know everything related to the hotel and everything. And then it continued, and then all the struggle continued again once I got here in the US, And to be specific, the real struggle was for me when I was at the airport. That was literally the first time for me to travel so far away by plane. So it took me a while to figure out, where to go and what to do in order to secure my flight. And of course, I did not want to miss the flight, right? So that is why I had to make sure that everything went pretty well on my end. I had to make sure that I got to the right gate and everything like that. So that was the second struggle. And right now, the struggle for for being lonely and then homesick, something like that. To be completely honest with you, before I came to the US, I lived in Denpasar, the other part of Bali, for such a long time, like 9 years. And during that moment of living there in Denpasar for 9 years, I never felt lonely. I never felt homesick or something like that because, I had always got something to do. And and right now it's the same, pretty much the same. I can say that I do not feel lonely. I do not feel homesick or something like that. But of course, if I were to be honest, I would say that, well, there are a lot of things that I really want to do right now in Bali. I've got my PC there in Bali. I've got my family in Bali. I've got a girlfriend in Bali, right? I really want to visit them so much. But if I were to be completely honest with you, am I feeling homesick? Not that much, actually, because I'm used to being a lone wolf, I should say.
Yeah.
All right. So, of course, there are times when I really want to go home, especially if I want to meet my girlfriend, I want to play games, I want to meet my family. But when that happens, I keep saying to myself that, okay, we've been through a lot to get here, and I'm not going to stop here. The really strong reason for me to be here is because of the fact that I want to change my life. I want to gain as much experience as possible in the hospitality industry, so then I will be more ready once I'm back in Bali and then apply for the job there. That's how I keep convincing myself,
Yeah, I understand that. So there's one strong thing that keep pushing you forward, right? To keep you survive. So, in really in the extreme condition there, because you said that you had a time when you just felt alone. You were alone in Denpasar for 9 years when you were in a college. Was it right?
Right, yeah.
Yeah,
That was
that's
back in
it.
2013, yeah.
Oh yeah, that's it. And then I think that's enough for you to, to identify yourself as a lone wolf, that you can't stand alone by yourself, and then you can figure something out, just finding the way out for this, the best solution as you can back then. But now the situation is indeed really different, right? You way like 13 hours difference, 13-hour differences, right? Like it's
Yeah.
almost half the earth, I guess. If we just can tell that the earth is like a ball, so Indonesia is the other part, and the US in the other part itself. So yeah, it's supposed to be harder than before, right? When you're dealing with loneliness, and especially if I were in your shoes, I probably get really get to need really someone when I felt sick, because I don't know why when we feel sick we tend to need someone to be beside us, right?
Well, I think I get a point there. You're saying that we tend to need someone beside us when we fall sick, right? When we are
Yeah,
not feeling, when we are feeling a little bit under the weather, right?
yeah.
Um, on my end, because you know what, before I came here, I lived in Denpasar for a long time. I saw a lot of things there. I had been through a lot there as well. I got sick, and then at some point I got in a critical condition. I was all alone. I did not even tell my parents because I did not want them to feel worried about me. So what did I do? I just kind of try to take care of myself. I try to, recover by myself there. And it was not a problem because, deep inside, I was like, if for example, I don't take care of myself, I'd rather take care of right now, then who's going to take care of me? So I think that what in the first I don't think because of blessing that I've been from God, I haven't been sick so far. At some point I felt a little under the weather, but it was not that much. It just kind of took me a few hours or a few days to fully recover. Maybe because of the fact that the work environment here in the US is quite different from the one that we have there in Indonesia. Of course, we have here. Looking at from the perspective of the way how it's organized at the hotel where I work right now, it's pretty much the same. We've got shifts. Divided into 3 shifts. The first one we have the morning shift, and then the afternoon shift, and then we have the night shift too, right? Let me clarify. We do not have any night shift, so we just have morning shift and then the afternoon shift, and everyone goes home by 11:30. Now, in Indonesia, especially in Bali, the situation is a little bit different, right? So they've got 3 shifts there. They work in the morning, in the afternoon, and in the evening, right? So, if, for example, if you are scheduled for the evening shift, for example, and then the next day you're going to have to work in the morning, that's going to take a lot. It's going to take a toll on you. And there are times when you feel a little bit under the weather, and then to some extent you're going to feel sick. You're going to feel weak because you do not have enough time to recover or recuperate, right? Here in the US, the situation is different because, as I said before, we do not have the night shift. So either I work in the morning or I wake in the afternoon, and I go home at 11:30 or 12 at the at the latest. So maybe because of that thing, maybe because of the way how everything is organized, I can confidently say that I have been in a pretty good condition. I haven't got sick. I haven't felt under the weather or something like that. It's been really, really quite nice.
Yeah. So fortunately, everything just went smoothly, right? It's been going really well since the first time you arrived. But yeah, that's going too far to the US just to explore and improve the abilities of the hospitality field, and then to gain as much experience as possible. So what else are you chasing for? So I think a lot of my friends, for example, right? A lot of my friends, even my dad, currently working overseas, working abroad. My friend, I got one friend who just working abroad in Australia, in the land, while my dad's just working in a cruise ship. So, and a lot of my friends I cannot mention here also have a dream to work abroad or currently working abroad. So I asked them, what are you chasing? You work so far away from your home. So mostly their answers are, of course, experience, right? Experience. We gain as much experience as possible to another country to get a new insight about the cultures, about the other people out there. But the most important example, or the answer, I mean, is gain as much money as possible, right? So what's your take? So do you agree with that, or maybe do you have another thing to chase for instead of money?
What is it that we chase in life, right?
Yes,
that's a pretty philosophical question in my opinion. But here's the thing. I think it depends upon the individuals, in my opinion, So some people really do care about the amount of money that they can make in a year. So of course, when it comes to working overseas, when it comes to working in some other countries, for example, the only thing they care about is just money, right? Now, some other people, they want to balance things out. They want to have, they want to care about their family. They want to care about their future family. They want to care about their hobbies. They want to care about their job and money, right? Now, that's a trick. How do we balance things out, right? Because we cannot just keep things going at the same time. At some point, you're going to have to choose whether you have to focus on your career first, whether you focus on the money first, because you focus on whether you should focus on your passion or your family, right? And as for me, what is it that I'm chasing right now is that I just want a stable life in terms of financial situation and then love life, for example. So I just want to balance things out here. I want to have, so before I get married at some point, I want to make sure that I have enough experience that will take me to the way to the top, to the top, the position where I will be working sometime in the future. So now to ensure that thing, I will have to make sure that before I get married, I have enough experience for that. So again, to answer the question, what is it that I really want to focus on? What is it that I want to chase? I want to chase all the good things in my life. I want to chase financial stability. I want to chase a good life. I want to chase hobby or something like that. I want to chase having a family or something like that. So everything has to go together. In my opinion.
That's a really great answers. So like what most people would answer that question when I just asked, especially when I asked my friends, what do you chase for when you just work overseas or abroad? Yeah, mostly the answers are money, of course. And sometimes the experience is as important as the money, right? So I guess about your answer is pretty great, and I couldn't agree more with that. So experience and money, and also the other good things is what really we chase for. So so currently there is it winter there or something?
It's currently fall right now,
fall.
autumn. So it's been fall since last month, I guess, September 21st. Yep. And then it's going to last for 3 months. And then winter is going to kick off in December, I guess. Yeah, I think winter kicks off on 21st December of December. Yeah, December 21st.
21st December. So it's a few weeks away, right?
Yes, I would say just 1.5 or more month, and then the snow is going to fall down,
I
and it's
see.
going to be really cold here. Yeah.
So what are you gonna do there? You said that mostly hotels or any hospitalities field will go a little bit slowly, right, during the winter season. So do you have any plans there, or maybe are you going to plan something there while doing some stuff in the winter season?
That's a pretty good question. You know what? Funnily enough, my manager asked me the same question, and well, the answer is going to be the same. What I want to do for winter is that I want to stay here in the apartment. I'm not planning to explore the city. I'm not planning to go to another state because I just want to save as much money as possible. That's number one. Number two, you know what? English has always been my passion. And content creation has always been my passion as well. So I would say maybe there's a chance I will stay in my apartment while doing this content creation thing. So I will just record myself, or maybe just have some sort of a relaxation activity or something like that, because I've been working throughout the year, I would say. So maybe winter is going to be like the perfect moment for me to relax for a while going back to my hobby. Maybe I haven't been playing games since I left Indonesia, so maybe I will go back to playing games for a while, and not just complicated games. It's just really simple games like *Harvest Moon*, for example. I haven't been able to play games in the past couple of months, so maybe I will just. That's definitely going to be, one of the activities that's going to be on the top of my list.
Oh, okay. So that's your wish list when the winter comes. So I think it's really good one, because you can spend your time just with yourself. It's like a me time kind of things, when you just haven't been able to do such things, and then when there is like a long break, or maybe like less busy situation, that you can spend most of your time with with yourself, and then you can just spend doing your hobbies, doing some content creation related to English, for example, or just playing games. So speaking of English, I've been able to talk English pretty well is because of you, right? So yes, I entered the English department before, because you inspired me, because back in a few years when I just really confused about what kind of college I would enter. Yeah, it was still was still really confusing for me. So you suggested me that why don't you just enter the English department of Udayana, for example. And yeah, a lot of stories back then, right? And then maybe my question goes, in our age, like around 25s to 30s, for example, learning language, is it still possible for people at our age learning English pretty well? Because we indeed know, right, that for kids, for teenagers, for example, or around the age around 10 or 15 or maybe almost 20s, they have they have a really great ability to learn any new skills or even languages, so they can absorb a lot of as much material, as much subject as possible. So compared to the adults at the age of 25, 30, or even above that. So do you think it's still possible for them, or for people out there, for me, for example, I'm 25 years old, so to improve the language, especially English? So do you think, what's the best solution? Because mostly people out there are still struggling, right, with English to work to work abroad, for example, to work overseas?
Well, first of all, I'm so happy to hear that from you, that I was the one who inspired you to enroll at Udayana University majoring English department, right? Well, back then it was a joke because you were confused back then. You had not figured out what sort of university or major that you would need to go for. So I kind of instinctively suggested that you should go for, the major that I was focusing on back then. And then you kind of took that seriously, and then you grinded your way up to the top, and then you became so fluent with your English. So I would say, well, partly it was because of me that you were there at Udayana University, but the fact that you are now fluent in English, I would say it is not because of me, but it is because of you. You've been grinding so much, you've been practicing so hard, you've been dedicating yourself to practicing English throughout your journey. You taught English before, right? Of course, that situation contribute a lot to your current state right now, to your current skill right now. So, everything that you have done so far really contributes to your current state right now. Okay, that's number one. And then number two, is it really late for someone who is over 25 or even 30 years old or something to learn English? Well, the short answer is I'm not going to talk about language acquisition that far, but here's what I can say to you. It depends, actually. It depends on the target. If this individual who is over 30 or over 25 or over 30 years old wants to learn English and achieve native-like level, then perhaps the best solution for this person to learn English is to travel right away and live in an English-speaking country, or in the US or in Australia, for example. Because you know what? When they live in an English-speaking country, they will not learn, but they will be forced to adapt to the new situation over there. So the time that is going to take them to learn or to be fluent in English is going to be a lot shorter than it takes when they sign up for an English course, for example. So if your question is it possible for this person to learn English, and this person is above 25 or 30 years old or something, through an English course, then I would say it's going to take a while, especially if the person is currently at a really low level at English, and then this person goes to an English course. That's going to take a while to get to the fluency level, But nowadays, everything has been a lot easier than ever. Everyone can learn English through an AI and then through partners. So speaking in English is not a luxurious thing anymore, So everyone can practice speaking in English. Everyone can use an AI to practice English. And everyone can travel and live abroad in the US, for example, or in Australia, for example, or New Zealand, for example. And then doing so will allow them to immerse, to get exposed to the language itself more intensively, which will result in the fact that they will be more fluent in no time. Yeah, that's the answer for that. And of course, the golden era for anyone over there to learn a second language, a third language, a fourth language even, is when a person is still at such a young age. So let's say a person is still around 5-7 years old. That's going to be like the golden age for a person to learn a new language. And then the language absorption, the language acquisition is going to happen a lot faster to that person. That's actually what's going to happen. Now, it does not even mean that the person who is above 25 or 30 or 40 years old is already late to learn a language. It is still possible, but then the process is going to take a little longer for them to get to the native-like level. Okay, let's forget about the native-like level. Let's just talk about like a realistic target to achieve a fluent level of communicating in English. Now to get to that level, the fastest way to achieve that is by living in an English-speaking country. Or if that's not possible, for example, then the alternative for that person is through joining a community where they will be surrounded by a lot of people who speak or communicate in English. Now, such a exposure itself is going to contribute a lot to the language acquisition of that person. So this person is going to be affected, and then that person is going to, to be influenced and then to be forced to use the language all the time. So that alone is going to make them fluent in English in a shorter time.
Oh, I see that. So, as you said, that it's still possible for people even above 25 or so, or even 40, to learn English or to learn any languages they want. It's only the matter of the exposure they get, right? I think the exposure plays a really important role here, because you need to be forced using it, right? Using the language you want to learn. Either you just travel through the English speaking country, or just join an English community where you need to use that as much as possible. All right, that's really answering the question a lot, because people out there, or even me, still struggling learning English or improving the language English to the better, because sometimes we feel like stuck in a I've seen, or I've read this somewhere, like intermediate plateau, where you just enter the intermediate level, but you cannot just break the limit. You cannot just climb the wall, where you just get stuck from the intermediate level. So to get to the advanced level, it's really that seems impossible, but actually it's not possible. It's not. So yeah, so I think that's why I came up with the question: is it possible to learn or improve the language skills, especially English, to get to the level where you may be almost reaching the native like? So yeah, that's it.
I think that's a completely different question. The first question is it still possible for anybody else out there who's above 25 years old or reaching almost 30 or 35 years old to learn English for the first time? And then the second question is, how do we get rid of that sort of plateau or stagnancy in learning in English, right? So the first one, the answer is already definite, that it is still possible for a person who is even already in their 25-ish years old, or even above 25, or even 30 years old or something. It is still possible. But then, to achieve native like, to achieve fluency level, that's going to require a different strategy. They can still learn the English, but then to be fluent, to be native like, they will have to spend a lot more time getting themselves exposed to the English. Just as I said, they will have to join a community in which they will be surrounded by a lot of people who communicate in English, or they can just go directly to an English-speaking country and live there for a couple of years. And of course, the result is going to be a lot better than just enrolling in an English course. Now, your question number 2 is that how is it possible to get rid of the stagnancy pace? So where we feel like we are stuck in the intermediate level, and it feels like there's no way to bring ourselves to elevate our English to the next level. Then the answer is really simple. If you feel like you are in intermediate English user right now, and you want to elevate your English and then you want to bring up your level, your English to the next level, then you will have to be more intense when it comes to practicing speaking in English. And of course, it really depends right now. When you say that you are stuck, you have hit the wall, and you feel like there's a ceiling to achieve to bring your English level to the next, your English communication to the next level, and then there's a and then you are plateaued, right? And you cannot even bring your level, your English to the next level. It really depends upon what sort of skills that you want to focus on. So, for example, if you want to boost your reading and writing skill, of course, you're going to have to spend a lot of time reading a lot of articles and then listening to a lot of podcasts, for example. Okay, so let's say you want to bring your reading capabilities to the next level, and for all this time you've been reading something that is so light, something that is so easy, something about, let's say, what is happening in your town, like newspaper, something like that. Now, in order for you to elevate this reading skill, you're going to have to challenge yourself. You're going to have to find a new source of reading. So for example, you may want to start reading like medical journal, or something that will utilize higher end words there, or higher end vocabulary, so that it will train you to memorize more vocabulary. It will train you to get more familiar with higher level of reading. And also the same thing goes to the other levels. If you want to elevate your listening skill, but for all this time you've been listening to light podcasts, like for example, then try to find an English resource or something like that, or English video, or English movie that will speak high level of language. That will kind of force you to think a lot, and you will feel like, oh, what are the characters talking about over there? I don't understand. If you, for example, reach that level once again, if you are in that situation once again, you are in the right on the right track. You are thinking, your English is progressing. So if you feel like, for example, oh, I'm watching a podcast right now, and it is such a walk in the park for me. I can understand everything that the people in the video are saying. You're not progressing. That's an easy way for you. So now find a resource that will force every single one of your brain cells, to think again, something like that. Okay. And as for writing and speaking, now these two skills are productivity related skills. You're going to have to spend a lot of time speaking in English, and then you're going to have to spend a lot of time writing in English as well. So I think these two skills are still related to the ones that I have just spoken about. So you may want to spend a lot of time talking about something that is beyond your level. So for example, if you are in the intermediate level, then you are just limited to talking about hobbies, your opinions, and then your situation at work or something like that. Now, if you want to bring your speaking skill to the next level, like advanced level, C1, C2, you may want to start enriching yourself with topics which are not familiar to you, like politics, medical journals, and then legal kind of things, or law, or something that is really happening right now in the world. And then you try to absorb them, and then you try to reflect them again with your speaking. The same also goes with writing. If for all this time you've been writing in kind of a conversational tone, and then you're just using regular words and vocabulary, you're not progressing. Now try to read something that is challenging your vocabulary, and then try to adapt the language style itself. So that's actually the way how you elevate your English skill. If you are already learning English, okay, if you're still a beginner, then you're going to have to work your way to the top to get to the intermediate level first. But once you hit the intermediate level and then you feel like you're stagnant right now, you've hit the wall, you have plateaued, there's no way for you to improve your skill even further, then you're going to have to ask yourself, how much have you been practicing so far, and how have you been practicing so far? If you've been slacking off, you haven't been practicing, and then that's the answer, you're going to have to practice more. But if you have been practicing more, but then the way how you've been practicing is just one way below your level, then you're not progressing. Okay, in order for you, so the logic is like this: if you're still a beginner, and then you want to get to the intermediate level, then you start reading something that is that is at the intermediate level, right? Now, if you are at the intermediate level and then you want to bring your skill to the advanced level, you're going to have to spend a lot of time dealing with advanced English materials. That's how it is supposed to be done. So when you feel like, oh my goodness, it's so difficult for me to deal with it right now, go with it, suck it up, and you're going to have to to go through it first in order to reach and unlock that level.
I see that. What a motivational words. It's been so serious since the beginning we started, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So yeah, for those who've been wondering how to improve your English skills, so according to our guys here, so according to our Hokage here, so the more you practice, the better you get, right? So get yourself exposed as much as possible and use your English as much as possible. And when you just hit or you face difficulties, just keep going on, just keep moving forward, right? And then just by doing so, you'll enter some kind of state that you'll think in English, and then you're figuring things out. Is that right?
Yes, exactly. So one thing for sure, once again, in addition to not giving up, in addition to keep moving forward with consistency, of course, in the process, you're going to have to be really creative. You're going to have to make sure that you always challenge yourself. If, for example, you are already at the advanced or native like level and you want to stay there at the top of the food chain for so long, you're going to have to do something about it. It is going to be like a tall order for you. If you, for example, hope that you can always stay at the top of the food chain in terms of English, but then you do nothing. Remember, here we're talking about skills. Skills can go blunt if you don't use them. So at some point, you're going to have to brush up on them. You're going to have to make sure that you always have a way to sharpen them. So it's exactly the same as working out. You are familiar with working out, right? You are familiar with futsal, for example. Now, after a while, you haven't been able to play futsal, for example. You haven't been able to work out, for example. There are times when you struggle even to lift yourself up off on the pull-up thing, and then it's going to be really difficult for you to kick a ball, right? And that is because of the fact that you haven't been able to practice. You need to push up. You need to make sure that you move. And the same principle applies in English. If, for example, you wish to achieve and stay there consistently at the top of the level of English, then you're going to have to make sure that you do exactly to do that. You have to make sure that you do exactly to make sure that it happens over there, either by practicing consistently and then by absorbing more knowledge, or just simply, doing this kind of podcast. This one is actually a good thing because you're forcing your brain to speak, to communicate in English without any preparation.
Yes.
Yeah, that's actually the thing over there because it demands our creative thinking, our thought processes as well, because something that is not prepared tends to be really, really challenging.
All right. So since you are in the US, so you still love football or Lionel Messi, by the way?
Wow. It's a hard question, actually.
So football and Lionel Messi was a hard question, and you just answered all of the questions really, really well. And now the football one is really hard. Why is that?
I have always idolized Lionel Messi for so long, ever since he started off his career in Barcelona, and then up to the point that he won the World Cup back in 2022. And then ever since he moved to Inter Miami, I have lost interest in watching football itself, because football, in my opinion, without Lionel Messi, especially after he quit playing in Europe, has never been the same. So, the vibe is different. The euphoria is different. So I would say right now, I'm not into football that much. I don't really care about football anymore, at least as much as I did, because back then, when Lionel Messi was still active in Barcelona, I would never miss his matches there. I would always try to make time, to watch it. And I still remember we watched the match together, right? Yeah. So we kind of cheer our hero together, right? And the ultimate time was back then in 2022, where Lionel Messi played for Argentina for the last time, and he eventually won the World Cup, right? So that was, I think, the last time when I enjoyed football that much. Right after that, right after he moved to Inter Miami once again, I kind of lost interest in watching football. So I don't find it as amusing as it was before,
Yeah. So I really remember that time when we just watched, the World Cup final between Argentina and France, and well, the score was tied, and then the last minute when the French player just about to shoot to the net, but the goalkeeper Martinez just blocked. Really, yeah. Fortunately, just blocked the shot, and then the match just went to the extra time, and then the penalty shootout. Then the Argentina just won the match. That was really amazing moment, and then Lionel Messi started moving to Miami. Yeah, and I felt the same. By the way, I felt the same when I watched Barcelona a couple of days ago, competing in La Liga. I've seen that there's no one attractive player. Like currently, European football teams just worked in a tactical setting, in a tactical well, what should I say, like tactical system. So they don't really rely on one or two players to make the chance, who we had back then, Xavi, Iniesta, or Sergio Busquets, Messi. So all of those players were really amazing in creating chances and open spaces, right? So not only tactical, but also they relied on one of or two players. So I think watching football nowadays is like watching the whole team. Like Barcelona stays Barcelona. So I think one of the famous football nowadays in Barcelona is Lamine Yamal, but I guess he had a lot of controversies despite of his skills. So I guess compared to Lionel Messi or Cristiano Ronaldo, I guess that's really so far, the talent and discipline.
Yeah, I completely agree with that because, these two legends, Lionel Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo, were the icons of the football itself, right? They kind of gave a different color to the football matches themselves. So every time they were on the pitch and then they played against each other, that was like the biggest, most lucrative match ever that people had ever watched, right? But right now the vibe is not the same ever since they left the pitch over there and played for some other football matches in some other part of the world, right? So I would say I would agree with you because the vibe is not the same. And then now we do not have any sort of football players that could make a difference. So everything is collective right now. All the team plays as a team, which is actually normal for football because football is never about individual performance, but it is the individual performance that actually makes a difference. The in the individual performance itself that really attracts a lot of viewers to watching football itself. So I would say football nowadays have been a little bit more pragmatic in the way that they will play conservatively, and then they will just try to squeeze victory over a slight advantage. For example, if Barcelona scores first against Real Madrid by one goal, for example, and then will play conservatively, and then they will play pragmatically, and then they will try to defend that goal for as long as they can. They will never try to attack again, So it's really pragmatic, and I don't like that. In the past, wow, they kind of attacked, they defended, and everything. They bought the attack, and then they kind of exchanged the attack. Everything was really, really fantastic there in their own ways, right?
Yeah. I agree with that. So, yeah, I think nowadays football is really, a bit annoying because with the existence of VAR, that gets rid of the emotion of watching football. Back then, even Lionel Messi or even Maradona or maybe the World Cup in in 2010, for example, in South Africa, when Frank Lampard just shot, and then against the Germany, and the ball was definitely beyond the line, the goal line, but the referee just just canceled the goal because maybe the goal was maybe unseen by the referee. So I guess the emotion will just disappear currently in watching football. So that's, I think, watching football nowadays is just all about winning the trophy, how to get victory, not not having a lot of emotion in one or two players, or the prestige. When Barcelona and Real Madrid, they back then had really emotional, what should I say, it's like emotional.
They have
Yeah,
a pride there.
that's it.
There were
Yeah,
a lot at stake there, right?
there's a pride at stake, right? So even Barcelona and Real Madrid called El Clasico, and then when I was in a junior high school, my friend just was always mocking at me when Barcelona just lose to Real Madrid. So that emotion creates a lot in football history back then.
Yeah, well, I would agree with that. Back then, there was a pride, in between matches there, and there were a lot at stake. So that is why they would always play to their maximum capacity every time they faced off against each other. And of course, every time one team lost, then, well, of course, the fans would just make fun of the other fans, right? But right now, I don't see the same thing. That's the reason why I have stopped watching football, because the vibe is not the same, and then it isn't as colorful as it was before. To some extent, that it isn't as amusing as what it was before. Back then, I was the edge of my seat every time I watched the El Clasico, because at some point Barcelona scored one goal against Real Madrid, and then they were approaching the full time, and then Real Madrid was attacking with everything they got there, and then of course Barcelona would have to defend against all the attack and offensive entire lines over there, right? And it was kind of it was really exciting to watch over there, a lot at stake. And then if for example, they had managed to score one more goal, then it would have been a tie, and then it would have been a of course, like a draw or something like that, then it would have been no fun at all, right? But right now, well, I don't really care much about that thing. And of course, the Spanish football division isn't as amusing as it was before. And you know what? That's because of the two legends having left the league itself, Lionel Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo. So those two legends are the icons of the football itself. They are so big, even bigger than the football itself, that now a lot of fans have shifted. They used to watch Real Madrid, they used to follow Real Madrid or Barcelona front official page, and then they all moved to either Miami or even PSG, or even, I don't know the team that is called, I don't know what it called, the team that Cristiano Ronaldo is playing right now, Al-Nazar, something.
Al-Nassr.
Al-Nassr, right? So that just speaks volumes on how significant these two public figures in football are, right? So right after they left the football, this Spanish football over there, the situation has never been the same.
I see that. Yeah. Yeah, I remember the last time we watched football. I think that was the last time we enjoyed watching football, right? With a lot of emotion and tense. Where I think we were the only one who just in the crowdedness when a lot of fans, in the World Cup final, and then I were the Argentina jersey. I think I was the only one who wore that. And then when the French player just scored a goal, everyone just mocked at me. And but yeah, at the end of the last time, I think Argentina just won the match. Yeah. So what about the World Cup 2029? It's in the US. So are you planning to watch that?
Well, yes, certainly the moment back in 2022 was the peak ball, in my opinion, you know, and I doubt it's going to ever happen again sometime in the future, you know, because, well, first of all, Lionel Messi is not going to play in the World Cup 2029 because by that time he will have turned, I don't know, like 35, 37 years old, and then obviously he will have been too old, right, for a professional football player to be on the pitch, right? I don't know if he's going to play, but to be completely honest with you, whether or not I'm going to watch remains to be seen. I'm not so sure about that thing, but there's a huge chance that I'm just going to skip it. Maybe I'm just going to follow the news. I'm just going to keep myself updated on that thing, who's going to win the World Cup. But of course, I just really hope that the best team wins over there. And by the time, I'm pretty positive that both Cristiano Ronaldo and Lionel Messi will have retired from, you know, the world of professional football altogether, because they will have turned like 39 and 37 by that time, right? They will just, well, they have left a lot of legacy, so I don't think they care so much about that thing, you know, about the World Cup anymore. But yeah, I'm not gonna watch. I'm not gonna closely follow the match itself. But still, I'm just gonna, you know, keep myself updated on that regard.
Oh, I see that. Yeah. Yeah, just focusing on yourself, and then you know, doing the work, not bothering, just go to another state, just watching the World Cup. It takes so much money, right, to go there, and then just saving the money for you to get home, and then you can spend with your family and then some friends, and you know, going somewhere to spend your time, right?
Yeah, right. Just spend our time with my family. That's it. Yeah, I can't wait to go home. Not because I'm feeling homesick, but because of the fact that I have a lot of plans that I want to do. I want to go camping. I want to go glamping. I want to rebuild my gaming PC, my gaming rig there, and I also want to fool around for one last time before going back to work or something like that. So, yep. While it is really fun here in the US, everything is limited to my end. I'm not sort of a well, traveling isn't my cup of tea, that's for sure. So I would always prefer to stay at home, playing games or something like that. So that's kind of a double-edged sword for me, because on the one hand, I do not get to know the outside world. But on the other hand, it kind of saves me the trouble of spending a lot of money. You know what I mean, right? So in that regard, that really, really is beneficial. And for that reason, that's why I really want to go back to Bali.
I see that. Yeah. Talking about family, this might be a really sensitive question. So, when are you going to get married?
Oh, well, that is not sensitive of a question, but I would say that is a really interesting question, because I'm open to that question right now. I used to be really, really conservative and sensitive to that question, because I wasn't sure whether or not I would get married at some point. But right now, I'm pretty. I can say that getting married itself is on my top list. It is on the horizon. I cannot say that they are around the corner just yet. But what I can say to you is that maybe in maximum 2 years, I think I will marry my girlfriend. But yeah, because of the fact that I have found the one that I love, and also I want to have a family on my own right now. That's for sure. So I can say that's those two things over there really contribute to the intention that I have to get married. You know.
Oh, I see that. Yeah. So that's why I think that the feeling of going home gets really stronger, right? when you just want to spend want to spend time with family, and then just maybe doing your to-do list when you get home with your loved ones, planning a long-term journey together. I think it's a really interesting one to do.
Yeah, definitely. So I've got a lot of plans with my girlfriend. So we would, travel the city because we did not get the chance to do it before I flew to the US. And then I will also take my family out, and I will also visit your family. And for the most part, I would love to go to Tabanan again and maybe work on some content with you over there, and then go to, that sort of a sacred waterfall over there, that we used to go to when we were kids, right? So, well, definitely there are a lot of things that I want to do in Bali. So that is why, I mean, in my opinion, it's counting months right now. So I'm not seeing myself here longer than I should, longer than my contract. So upon the completion of my study of my J1 program, like in a couple of months, like in 3-4 months, I will just go back to Indonesia.
Okay, so yeah, you still do your hobbies, like have some walks there, or maybe playing guitar or cover some songs instead of playing games. Besides playing games. Because we used to do such things, right? Like doing like cover songs, and then we even had a walk in Renon, at Renon, and we just went for a walk for a couple minutes, and then while having a conversation, mocking at people, back then. And then, so do you still do such things?
Well, I wish, because that sort of a silliness part of myself will never be gone completely. It does not even matter if I become a father, if I become a husband, if I become older than I am right now. That silliness side of myself will always exist there, okay? And to answer the question, I wish I could do that, but here I do not have anyone to do such a thing here. Well, to make cover videos and then to have fun on the road or something like that. So here, that's why I'm saying that it is really limited to it is really limited in terms of having fun here. I cannot even find it. I can't find it as amusing as it is back home over there. Maybe because I do not have anyone who has the same vibe. Because you are my cousin, my best friend, and my brother at the same time. So we have something in common to do, right? So we do not have we always have something on our mind to do, right? So that's not the thing that I can find here. I've got a lot of friends here, but having fun is not their cup of tea.
Really?
Maybe they like having fun, but not like in the way how I have fun. So in my case, having fun is like doing something silly, something stupid, something like that. But maybe for them, having fun is like traveling somewhere and then exploring the city or something like that, and which is not my cup of tea once again. So maybe I'll just wait until I get back in Bali, and then everything will start again from there.
Oh, I see that. So a lot of your friends might be like one of the serious guy over there, like they really go somewhere, but just for feeds, Instagram stories, right? Was it like that?
I would say so. They're definitely younger than me, like by a couple of years there. But then the vibe is different. I think they are about your age, but then their cup of tea is different. Their passion is different. They're more into fooling around by drinking, by traveling, of course, by talking about the things that they like. I tried to approach them. I tried to blend in them, but it did not work. I found it really, really awkward over there. I did not feel that I belonged there. That's why, well, maybe I'm just going to be a lone wolf for now for a couple of more months before I fly back to Bali.
Yeah, I see that. It's 4 or 5 months away, right?
4 months away.
4 months away.
my contract ends on March 31st, and then I will be on my way back to Bali. I think on April 6th, I guess. Yeah.
April 6th will be arriving 7 in Bali, right?
Yeah,
I see
7th
that.
in Bali. Yeah, and I think I will arrive in Bali on the 8th, I guess. Bali local time.
I see that. So, all right, that completes everything. So, thank you very much for sharing your experience in J1 program there and your dreams and your wish list when you get home by the times on around March 31st. So, yeah, I wish you have a really good times there, and then yeah, hopefully we can do such thing like stupid things or make some great content creation. So yeah, stay tuned, and yeah, okay, so okay, that's it.